hocus pocus, some Shazam, some abracadabra words that all of a sudden by waving a magic wand or a magic microphone is going to make black people start hating white people. I'm not that silly. I'm not that shallow. If all white people have done to us for 400 years and 6,000 years have not made us hate them, no words could make us hate them. No words could make us hate them. All praise is due to Allah. Praise be to Allah. To the whites in this university auditorium under the sound of my voice, 6,000 years, 400 years of slavery, suffering, and death, misuse and abuse and oppression, 400 years of this. I must say to you here at Kent State University, to the whites under the sound of my voice, you have nothing to fear from me of hate. It is you looking in the mirror that you must take a careful look at yourself here tonight. And I came to Kent State University to hold the mirror up in front of your face. I came to strip you buck naked, and I won't leave you with a stitch to hide behind. I will not leave you a stitch to hide behind.
Good morning. All right.
In the church, I went to the rock to hide my face, but even the rock was crying out, ain't no hiding place. Ain't no hiding place. The Bible says that the bed is too short and the cover is too narrow. Ain't nowhere to hide tonight. But to the whites who are in the audience and under the sound of my voice, what you must understand is that we could never quite treat you the way you have treated us. God just didn't make us that way. It's not in us to treat you that way. God did not make us that way. God did not make us that way. It's not in us to treat you the way you treated us. Now let me cover a few things I'm saying.
Talk your shit, brother. Talk your shit.
Let me get right up off in this thing. How silly are you to call me David Duke? To call me Hitler? I'm embarrassed. These guys are not nearly as handsome as I. I'm so hurt that you would call me a Nazi, call me a hater, call me a bigot, call me an anti-Semite. How could you compare us with the right-wing paramilitary white organizations and the Ku Klux Klan and the Nazi Party and Hitler and the KKK and all of them? How could you compare us with them? Let's take a look at history, because history is best qualified. History is best qualified to reward our research. If we know what happened yesterday, we can intelligently discuss today, because today is built on yesterday. And tomorrow is built on today. History develops the springs and motives for human action and human activity. Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Yusuf bin Yakanan, our grand master teachers and historians and venerable imzeh, or elders among us, teach us that history is a clock that people tell the time of day by. History is a compass that they use to find themselves. And Dr. Maulana Karenga, going through the divine and sacred utterances, studying in ancient Egypt or Kemet, and putting together what is called the Hosea, the divine sacred utterances of our ancestors. When you study our heroes and our sheroes, our forefathers and our foremothers, when you study our history and our herstory in the Hosea, we quote, even one day, when we look at history, even one day is a donation to eternity, and every hour is a contribution to the future. To the young sisters and young brothers of Black Student Unity on this Kid State University campus, you are making history right now, and what you are doing now will be the inspiration for our people down the wheel of time. You are walking, living, breathing history right now with all of your actions and all of your activities toward the liberation and salvation of your people. Let's look at it. David Duke, the Ku Klux Klan, the Aryan Brotherhood,
Hitler,
the Nazis, Hitler and these guys. You know these guys. So the whites in the audience, chest chill. Sit back like, relax guys. Won't be such a rough ride. Buckle your seat belts. If for any reason this auditorium becomes depressurized, guys, an oxygen mask will automatically fall from the ceiling. Please fasten the elastic band around tightly and firmly around your head and place it firmly over your mouth and nose and breathe freely and help the white person next to you. Everything will be all right. Everything is going to be fine. So everybody just sit back, relax, and have a good time. No one ever robbed David Duke, the Ku Klux Klan, the Aryan Brotherhood, Adolf Hitler, the Nazis. No one ever robbed them of their name, their language, their religion, their culture, their God, their folkways, their mores, and robbed them of the very power of their own being. No one has ever robbed them.
facts.
No one has enslaved them for 400 years. How can you compare me with them if no one has ever robbed them? If no one has ever enslaved them? What in the heck are they screaming and hollering about today? These are questions that you must ask yourself. But you want to call it reverse discrimination.
Right.
Niggas. We've got to protest. This guy's coming on campus. He's a hater. He's a hate mongerer. We can't take this thing sitting down, lying down. Oh, come on. Come on. To the young whites who are here, let us reason together. To the Jewish students who are here, let us reason together. Every day, in every way, every textbook, everything we touch, when we turn the channels of the television, when we go to the movie theaters, we have to watch your story. We have to watch your history. We are tuned in to your pain. But who tunes in to the pain of the black man and the black woman? You still treat us like we are not supposed to hurt, like we are not supposed to have any pain. Shut up and listen here tonight. Shut up and listen here tonight. If someone comes into your home, bum rushes your house, and black boot stomps your door down, and comes in and puts their gap, their nine, a 9 in one hand and a 40 in the other hand, put their gat or their 9 on everybody in the house, robs everybody, rapes everybody, then takes the wealth of the home of yours and parlays it into an empire, And one day you are strong enough to take their gun back from them. And now stay.
How you doing, my friend? Is the machine open yet?
Lottery machine?
Yeah. I'm gonna do the Mega Millions tonight and the Powerball for whenever the next drawing. $2. Oh, you gave me the random. I had my numbers here.
You wanted this?
Yes.
Okay. Not this morning?
Nah, I got my own numbers.
Oh shit, you know. Okay, oh, it's okay, Give to me. The same number Powerball, same number.
Yeah, yes. You went up on your tobacco?
Huh?
You went up on your tobacco?
Tobacco?
Yeah, you went up? Your blunt?
All prices are gone up. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Over them and call them a raper and a robber to their face. The question is, does that make you a reverse robber and a reverse rapist? Does that make you a reverse robber and a reverse rapist? Let us reason together. Slave master beating the heck out of the slave, whipping the slave with the old cat o' nine tails, blood running down the slave's back, and the slave master dip his hand in salt and rub salt in the wound. If the slave is able to one day by God's grace, one day by God's power, able to take the whip from the slave master and start whipping the slave master's backside, does that make the slave a reverse slave master? Come on, let's reason together here tonight. To the young whites in the audience, this is going to be a history
Rough ride, buddy.
Black History 101. We want you to sit back and relax and take a careful look at what we're saying here tonight. No young Jewish student, no young Jewish student in this auditorium, in the balcony, in the other closed circuit auditoriums of Kent State University. No well-meaning young Jewish student of conscience would be pleased to have to study textbooks and be told that Adolf Hitler is a founding father of the country that they are now in. And to be told and to be told that he's the first president of the country that they find themselves in. I want you to reason with us tonight. Just reason with us. Don't be used by smart, crooked deceivers behind the scenes who will take a few sound bites here and there and take something out of context and whip up a frenzy and start a firestorm of controversy and throw you right in the middle of it. No, you must be critical thinkers today. You must analyze for yourselves. Let us, as the
Critical
Bible
thinkers.
says, reason together. Because history is no mystery. Black history in particular is no mystery. And
Facts.
to the blacks and the whites in the audience, you must study this history. Otherwise, you better check yourself before you rickety wreck yourself. Look at it for what it is worth today. When you look at it, you will find that George Washington, who?
George Washington.
I know Susie's here. I know Bob, Bill, Jill, Heather. I know they're in the house. But it's all right to talk back to me, talk black to me. George Washington, who?
George Washington.
George Washington is called one of the founding fathers of America. Is that true? Let me see the hands if George Washington is called the founding father. That's all I'm asking. Let me see your hand. George Washington, is he the first president of the United States? Let me see your hand if he's the first president of the United States. Did you know that white historians have recorded that George Washington, the first president of the United States, some of the other founding fathers
Owned slaves when they signed the Declaration of
Jefferson,
Independence?
that they all owned slaves? Washington was also a notorious Indian smoker. One Jewish student having to read history books that glorify the murderers of our foreparents, that glorify the enslavers of our people. What pain do you think this causes us? Nobody protests. No placards carried. No posters carried. No candlelight pictures. No meetings before the meeting. So you can condemn. Nobody says take George Washington out of the history books.
Right. How about
Take
that?
Thomas Jefferson out of the history book.
How about
But
that?
again, no Jewish
How about
student,
that, y'all?
as I appeal to you,
Y'all was going around taking down statues
if you had to handle
and
these
things of that
textbooks
nature, right?
every day.
That's a good question. Why ain't nobody take down George Washington? Shit. And Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln shit. Because they owned slaves during the Reconstruction, right? Of them signing the Emancipation Proclamation, right? They still own slaves, y'all. So why ain't they take their statues and shit down? You know why? Because dig in your pocket, pull out your money, right? Who faces it on them dollar bills, y'all? $5 bills, $10 bills, $20 bills, $50 bills, $100 bills. All them dudes own slaves, y'all. All them forefathers, their forefathers, owned slaves. Around the same time they signed the, like I said, make it make sense, y'all. We was out here taking down all types of statues. We was taking all types of statues down, y'all. Right? Look at that, y'all. Spoon. Well, they all own slaves, but if y'all dig in your pocket and pull your money out, you'll have the slave masters with you every day, all day. See? See that? You got your slave master with you every day, all day. Meaning, pull your money out your pocket or your wallet, look on the dollar bills, and who faces do you see? Slave owners. But tell me you're going to burn all your money up. Tell me you're going to burn your money up and give it away. I bet you don't do it. Let's go.
With Hitler as we do with George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and others. George Washington not only owned slaves. George Washington, according to white historians, we've also got it from black historians, so you'll have it in black and white. George Washington raped the slave black women in the slave quarters. He misused the black woman in the slave quarters. Thomas Jefferson, another founding father of America, misused the black woman in the slave quarters of the plantation. History records, and it is no mystery because we're unraveling the mystery tonight. We're pulling the veil off of it tonight.
Like we pulled the veil off Prophet Muhammad. We poured the veil off him. We pulling veils off people. We doing drive-bys, y'all.
After impregnating the black slave women on the plantation. These are great-great-great-grandmothers we're talking about. And wherever George Washington or Thomas Jefferson or one of the other founding fathers would impregnate a black woman, a slave woman on the plantation, they would sell their own babies into slavery. History records that old George and Tommy Jefferson would sell their own sons and daughters for barrels and kegs of syrup and molasses and whiskey. We weren't any more than a barrel of molasses to George Washington or Thomas.
Can I get 6 strawberry Philly blunts?
Swig of whiskey to one of them. His own sons and daughters.
Nah, I gave my last 6 ones, family.
Father threw a black woman after raping her on the plantation. But we have to accept this in the history of America. Abraham Lincoln, I want you to reason with us here tonight. Abraham Lincoln is said to have signed the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing the slaves. But when you study the etymological root of the term emancipation, you go to the etymological root emancipera. And emancipera means to free from one's hand, but not to free them indeed. In other words, they took the chains from our wrists and our ankles and put the chains on our brains. Because we are still tied to the same slave master and the slave master's children to this very day. Let's look at it, brothers and sisters. History, black history, is no mystery. You better check yourself before you rickety wreck yourself. Let's look at it.
Donald talking about some goodies early in the morning.
When you study can everybody hear me?
Any goodies out? Hell nah.
As quiet as it's kept. When you study the memoirs of Abraham Lincoln,
box with that brother.
The memoirs of Abraham Lincoln tell us and teach us in a most revealing way that Abraham Lincoln said, if I could save the youth, if I could save my people, if I could save my nation without freeing the slaves, I would go on and do it. Old Abe was honest.
Old Abe, just like Obama, right?
He said if I could save the youth and not free the slaves, I would do it. The memoirs of Abraham Lincoln, according to history, tell us that Abraham Lincoln said, I, as any white white man would like to see white people in the superior position.
It's
This
80,
is
bro.
the President of the United States of America.
You talking about Abraham, y'all. Abraham
President
Lincoln.
Lincoln went on to say that he never thought the two people would ever be able to get along in peace together. He said that blacks would never come up to the level of whites, and whites would never go down to the level of blacks.
This Abraham Lincoln, y'all.
George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, others of the founding fathers, Abraham Lincoln, the so-called signer of the Emancipation Proclamation, had an inordinate superiority complex. An inordinate superiority complex, and therefore now we who have been robbed of our names, our language, our religion, our culture, our God, our folkways, mores, norms, and the very power of our own being, we have an inordinate inferiority complex. They inordinately superior in their complex, and we with an inordinate inferiority complex. If the founding fathers owned slaves, if the founding fathers sold into slavery after raping black women, if they had this kind of attitude, we are taught by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that the circumstances surrounding the origin of the birth of a thing into the world determines the very nature of that thing, determines the very coding of that thing. And so it is no wonder that America is racist today.
Big time.
The Kerner Commission, almost 3 decades ago, a White House commission set up by the president, pointed out that America is 2 Americas. How many? This is the Kerner Commission out of Washington, D.C., out of the White House, set up by the President of the United States.
Of the United
2
States.
Americas. 1 black, 1 white, and went beyond the limits of Plessy versus Ferguson, not separate and unequal, separate but equal, but went beyond those limits. And the Kerner Commission said that America is 2 Americas, separate and, as I said earlier, unequal. Separate and unequal, and that the #1 problem in America today, according to the Presidential Commission out of the White House, is white racism. Now that was 30 years ago. The Kerner Commission reconvened decades later, today, and they determined that America, as it was 30 years ago, is still 2 Americans. 1 black, 1 white, separate and unequal, and that the #1 problem today, as it was yesterday, is still white racism in America. But let me go to your own Akron Beacon Journal. The Akron Beacon Journal, Sunday, February 13th, just a few hours ago, page A4. Blacks at the top. Where? Blacks at the top don't escape raw racism. New York judge and state comptroller are targets of racial indignities despite their positions of authority. By Yvette Blackman, Associated Press. Some people look at H. Carl McCall and George Bundy Smith and see paragons, high-powered players in New York's establishment, the state's chief fiscal officer and one of its top judges. The result, in the last year, these polished black men and Ivy Leaguers have suffered well-publicized racial indignities. McCall was called a nigger from Harlem by a town councilman. Smith was caricatured with racial stereotypes at a law clerk's dinner. The overtly racist laws proclaiming no blacks allowed are all gone, it appears,